So first, before you talk about the photographs, who are these dance students? Are they in dance companies? Who are these men?
95% of these people are dancers. They're student dancers from the Juilliard School. My cousin Tal is a dancer, and he went to school there for 4 years. So when I was a photo student in the School of Visual Arts, we sort of connected, and I got to meet his friends, and that's how I became interested in dance. In the beginning, I kind of used the dancers for anything that I did. So, I used them more like actors, and then as I became familiar with the language of dance, I started making work about dance and about them exclusively.
Okay. Now, it looks like they all have freckles, but that's not the case. So explain why that appearance of very freckle, like suddenly there's an epidemic of freckles among male dancers in New York. So what's going on?
Okay, so the idea of this project was to process these images in an infrared technique. And what the infrared is doing is that it brings everything that is warm tones, so red, orange, yellow, to the surface, and sort of all of these tones are being emphasized. So everything that is under our skin, like stretch marks, sun damage, scars, they all become very emphasized. And everything that is in cool tones, like green and blue, becomes very pale. That's why a lot of the eyes look sort of hollow.
Because of the infrared, that's what it
Yes. So this technique is actually being done in post-processing. There used to be a special film, back in the days when people were shooting film, not so long ago, so that they used to do this thing, but I'm doing it all digitally, so it's emulating the technique.
I want to ask about this one. If you guys could scoot over a little bit. How did you was that the natural expression? Did you tell him to feel that way? And what's going on with the hair? How did you get that?
The dialogue with the dancers is really interesting. They're very intelligent, both mentally and physically, and they're really good in translating abstract words that I say, because I'm not a choreographer and I'm not a dancer and I have zero sort of knowledge. And so everything that I tell them is very abstract, but they sort of know how to take that feeling or phrase or description of something that I have in my head and turn it into a movement. And so, this is Kyle. I think he's a senior now in Juilliard, and he's one of the only ones that were shot in an actual studio. All of these photos are natural light and shot next to windows. But in some cases, some of them were shot in like living rooms and hallways, but this one was shot in a studio, and I think we were just experimenting with that sort of moment. And so he was just bringing up his head, and we were trying to freeze that moment. And this is the only picture that came out like that. Like the hair kind of looks sculptured, because the rest of them were a mess. But this is the beauty of photography, that sometimes there's this magic, and it happens, you can't create it again.
Why don't you stand in front of these two so that we're sort of